Hello and welcome back. I'm Eric,
And I'm Scotty.
and this is the Movies We Don't Deserve, a show where we review movies that exist in the world. And so, yeah, they're usually obscure. Some lesser known titles, some movies, some sequels that people don't, really talk about, some indie films, or just a broad shotgun blast of some of the lesser known, less talked about movies, but some gems and some duds for sure. But yeah, some gems. If you tuned in last time, we reviewed the movie Erector Set. Um, I think you liked it all right.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it
There were
was
some themes I was a little uncomfortable with, but overall, yeah.
yeah. I thought it, I mean I applaud it for what it achieved, but yeah, I do have a problem. Some problematic stuff in it. Oh, speaking of, I just watched Licorice Pizza. Have you seen that?
I have not.
So it was a really critically acclaimed movie. It was nominated for several Academy Awards. I may have won some. I'm not sure. So I watched it recently, and I had no clue what it was about. I just knew it was kind of artsy and indie and whatever. And it's about it's kind of a love story between a 15-year-old boy and a 25-year-old girl. So I was like, what the fuck? What is wrong with people, man? Although it works, if you watch it, it works. I'm like, they do belong together.
I don't know. Like, they watched Harold and Maude, and they're like, that's a little too much. What if they were
Yeah.
slightly closer, but still inappropriate?
Well, she's a little immature. He's a little mature. They meet in the middle. But anyways, yes. So the Rector Set made me think of that because yeah, it had some problematic themes in it as well. But so today, Scott, you got a movie for us that you wanted to go over.
Yes.
Okay, classic. I don't remember when this came out, but did you have that information?
It was the early 80s.
I do remember that early '80s.
84?
'84. Okay.
Yeah. This is actually one of my favorite not talked about movies of all time.
All right. I would have been 4 years old.
Five Finger Death Cabin.
Where we are? Oh, yeah, yeah. Five Finger Death Cabin. So, yeah, not talked about movie. Very obscure. A lot of things to say about it. So, I mean, I love the image there. I love the name and the fact that the band Five Finger Death Punch
Clearly ripped it off.
clearly ripped it off.
Clearly.
So yeah, although I mean, I always heard that they had also like borrowed from Death Cab for Cutie, which I'm like, how do you just because you have death in your name? That doesn't make sense. But that's what it says on Wikipedia, so I was like, and they don't even mention Five Finger Death Cabin on Wikipedia. So I'm like, I think it might just be a stretch they threw in there. Like,
I think if Five Finger Death Punch would kind of give more credit to where they stole their fucking name from, maybe the movie would be talked about and we could get like a newer release because it's not even on anything like any modern format.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean '84. I was like I said, I was 4. My family got our first VCR. Probably, I remember getting it, so I was probably 6 years old, 7, somewhere in there. I know they paid $400 for it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I have a copy.
oh
Uh,
wow, wow, you got a
yeah, yeah.
hold on.
Uh,
The light's
the
hitting it a little
purchase.
weird.
Do what?
The light's hitting it a little weird. I couldn't see it that
Oh,
well. Let's see. Oh yeah, 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 man. Where'd you dig that up?
yes.
Looks like you checked it out of the
Uh,
library
I
and
found
stole
it
it.
at a pawn shop, and it's. I mean, yeah, it looks like it was left on somebody's like dash, and the sun just
I mean, what? We're talking almost 30 years. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it's a classic group of kids go out to a cabin movie, and there's a giant hand that lives in the cabin.
Yeah, strangely enough, I mean, it's odd, but I mean, that hand actually, it at least was modeled after, and he did do some of the shots. It was Ed McMahon's hand.
Yeah.
Weird. He was big in the 80s, always handing out those $1 million checks, whatever.
Yeah, those commercials are on all the time. Uh, yeah, and I mean, as a kid, I remember seeing the cover of it, and I don't know, like I'd seen movies like House and
Yeah.
Amityville 3D, where there's a hand in the on the cover and stuff. And it's never, so like I just had no idea what to expect, but the cover literally says it all.
Yeah, so it definitely, it's a memorable cover. And so when you were a kid, clear up to like when I was a teenager, I'd go to the video store, and some covers, they just stood out, like
Oh,
Evil Dead 2, yeah, with the skull with
the
the
two,
eyes, yeah. uh,
uh, Demon Wind.
which one's that one?
Oh, it's so bad. They actually like it's kind of two different movies that they just mashed together because there's a bunch of like hiccups in production and everything. But the cover is like this green demon smashing through a window, and it was actually had the you move it and the picture
Oh
kind of
yeah, the
changes
picture
and stuff.
changes, yeah.
Yeah,
Huh. I mean, I'm not picturing it, but yeah, I'm sure if I saw the image, I'd recognize it.
shopping mall. There's another hand. That thing is not in the movie. There's just
Yeah.
a bunch of clunky robots.
Yes, it's about robots. Yeah, chopping mall. Yeah, about robots in a mall. That's security
I
robots
mean,
in.
don't get me wrong. I love shopping mall, but the cover misrepresents it completely.
Yeah, and House too. Like, I mean, when you're talking about House, I
Yeah.
mean, there's no floating hand unlocking the door. It's just a creepy image. So yeah, this one for sure, it delivers. I mean, it's not. I mean, the title should give it away too. Five Finger Death Cabin.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a hand coming out the cabin in the shot for the movie posters and whatnot, but it's got five fingers that are trying to kill you through the whole movie. So
Yeah, I love the array of attacks it had. Like, it hypnotizes a girl partway through the movie just with some like finger wiggles and stuff, and then just snaps his finger, and she goes into a trance, kills her friend.
yeah, yeah, and she started quacking like a duck, and I was like, what? Why? It didn't even say. It can't tell you what you're doing while you're hypnotized. I mean, I don't know ASL, but maybe it spelled out quack like a duck. I'm not sure.
I wish they would. I wish they would. You know, I'd be okay with the remake of this movie, just
Oh,
because with CG, which I'm usually not a fan of, or better practical effects, they could really do some like really great kills, just like
yeah, yeah.
bosses or flicking or
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that, because there are some great practical effects in here. Some of them were really uniquely done. I mean, there's a famous one that was essentially just two uh, dyslexic turtles inside a paper bag, and I don't know how they achieved that like ghostly image with that. I had to see a behind the scenes thing to realize that yeah, it was just two dyslexic turtles in a paper
yeah.
bag.
Yeah, no, I wish it would get more attention so we could, because I know there's more footage that just isn't released because again, no modern
Yeah.
formats don't have like special features or anything, and I would like to see some merchandise. I'd love a Funko Pop Five Finger Death Hand.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah. I suppose you could probably find an Adams Family one and just paint it, but
Yeah, it was filmed in Tennessee, and before I was old enough to like get in a car and go to Tennessee, people were already like going out to the cabin where they shot it
yeah.
and pieces of memorabilia and stuff. And so by the time I was like able to make it out there, there was no cabin left at all. They actually had built a housing addition where it was, but I found like the house that was built where the cabin was and took one of their address tiles. It's not as cool not being from the cabin, but
Yeah.
until they start making some merch or something, that's the closest I'm gonna get. if anybody knows where to get like a piece of the actual cabin or anything, like comment below.
Yeah.
I needs it.
You'd have to go on the dark web probably. It's like it's similar to the Evil Dead cabin. I know people did that as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, and yeah, I read in I think Bruce Campbell's autobiography that a fan went out to years and years later went out to where the cabin was and it was gone as well. The only thing left was the fireplace, but they took a brick out of the fireplace and then brought it to him at a convention. So I
yeah.
mean,
That's awesome.
yeah, you got you.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I'm torn because like there's a part of me that's like, fucking stop destroying it. But I probably would have taken a piece.
Yeah.
And whether people took pieces or not, that cabin was a piece of shit in the movie. It would have been torn down anyways. So like at least, fans do there's like relics of it floating around.
Yeah. So about the movie itself. So I mean, essentially, you've seen it in other movies. I don't know if this is it's not the first cabin horror. But they were popular in the '80s, and they still make them throughout the day. I mean, Cabin in the Woods came out 10 years ago or so, but yeah, I mean, Cabin Fever maybe 15 years ago. So they're still making these types of movies where some sort of cabin in the woods where shit happens. And so that's essentially, you don't need to know a lot. There's not a lot of plot. It's, a bunch of kids. Yeah, I think they were coming out of college and then taking a trip. That's the same plot line from Cabin in the Woods.
So. Evil Dead.
Yeah, they go to a cabin. Obviously, they're all attractive for the 80s.
They all know the secret location that nobody else does.
Yeah, there were 5 friends. That's what I remember. There were 5 teens. Go out there, 2 couples and a tag along nerd friend, and then they eventually get death cabined or. Yeah, one literally. In the sexiest scene in
comparison to Evil Dead, when she gets raped by the tree.
So I do want to say something about that as well. Okay, so I don't know how much you know about the production side of it. So essentially, when the creators of it, Ivan Moody and Zoltan Bathory, when they created this movie, they had gone to essentially like a filmmaker mixer, right? And so they ran into Sally Fields, and it's not Sally Fields from like The Flying Nun. It's this essentially another filmmaker. The other Sally Fields, right? And so she's a Swedish filmmaker. She's really prior to this, she'd really only made 2 things. She had made a Swedish horror movie that was called. Let me see what I got here. Oh, it's called Penis Goblin. Okay. And then she had made a Swedish porn called Penis Goblin. Okay. And so when knowing that, and when you see the scene with the no way to dance around it, fingering to death. It's I'm like that's her influence.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How many people do you think of like bought a copy of Penis Goblin and got the wrong Penis Goblin?
Well, it depends. I mean,
in which order do you think it goes?
Well, shit. I mean, honestly, I think I don't know. And how would you feel if you were like, going through like trying to find a porno in the 90s? Because you wouldn't have been able to like eBay it or get it online in the 80s.
Because that's actually happened to me. I mean, sort of. It was kind of my fault, but when I was a kid, 2 of the movies that I rented all the time were Michael Jackson's Moonwalker and Solar Babies.
Oh yeah, I love Solar Babies.
I loved Solar Babies and forgot about it for years. And then as an adult, it just like popped in my head one day, and I was like, they were all on like skates and shit, roller babies. So
you
copy of Roller Babies. It's not soul readings.
Yeah.
It is like a softcore, not like there's no like fucking in it, but uh, yeah, like a Cinemax type
Yeah.
movie
Just,
where yeah.
did,
So
was it?
you know, right off the bat, I was like, this doesn't seem like the movie my parents let me rent.
Was it sexy? Did you keep it? Did you rent it again?
No, it actually got a. I had a box of movies that got stolen, and
Yeah.
that was in there.
That reminds me, you and I were going around sometime in the late '90s trying to get all the Howling movies, and we were just renting them at various video stores and not returning them so that we could get them all. So yeah,
There's a really funny story about that too. Uh, Part 7, the worst one, uh, is like super fucking hard to get now.
oh,
It was never released on anything, and there's like no like prospects of that happening.
do you still have it?
No,
Oh,
yeah, I know it sucks.
yeah,
It, man, I can't even remember the like subtitle to it, but yeah, like I recently saw some video where they were talking about like how like obscure it is and like how people have been trying to get it released and something about rights.
yeah.
I don't even remember the whole story now, but yeah, like
That's the
there's a
thing. That's
there's a
a,
bar where it was filmed that's kind of like has pictures of the movie being shot there and stuff. Uh, I don't remember any of the stuff.
well,
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
that's similar to Five Finger Death Cabin in the fact, like, yeah, the rights. I mean, that's these things, these older movies. If they like get forgotten, then like who has the rights and all that shit gets lost or whatever, or maybe just people don't have enough care to put any sort of effort into it because there's no money to be made.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, there's that. So, um, anything else you want to add on to the movie? I mean, we essentially got it. The plot is just that it's a bunch of kids go to the
Yeah.
woods and then they encounter some shenanigans involving essentially a haunted hand, more or less. Ed McMahon does the hand. A lot of the stunts here were done. A lot of people don't know this. Were done by Randy Brandy Randy, the WWE superstar.
Okay. I
This
did not know that.
Yeah, early on in his career, that's kind of what got him going. He's famous for his signature move, the Snickle Fritz pile driver, where he goes, "Who wants a Snickle Fritz?"
I never got real big into wrestling, so
Oh, yeah, I thought everybody knew that one.
maybe I'd seen that name and I like just glossed over it because I didn't.
Yeah,
I think my only experience with wrestling is when we would settle arguments with the WWE.
yeah.
You know, 60.
Yeah, we'd play Nintendo 64 WWE to settle arguments. Yeah, I used to be really good at wrestling games, and I was really bad at that one, so I always lost the arguments. But other than that, the only other things. Oh, I did. I have one. The end scene. So obviously, you know, they win. I mean, not all of them win. Some of them don't make it. but and there's never a sequel that I know of, anyways. And so, yeah, there's a big explosion at the end. Practical effects. That thing was done by 17 lasers tied to one of those birds that drink water.
Yeah.
And yeah, how? I mean, mirrors, I guess. 17 laser pointers. I mean, I've tried to replicate it. Mine just looks. Honestly, they get so heavy, my bird won't even drink the water. It just falls forward.
I do like, you know, the self-sacrificing hero. He kind of goes with the explosion, but before it goes off, probably the best line in the movie: "Time to clip your nails."
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. No, I mean, we should have written down more of those lines because there are some good ones in there. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's a obligatory, you know, the hand gives a middle finger to
Yeah.
just I mean, yeah. I don't even like when people flip off. It seems stupid.
And the hand usually crawls, much like it from the Addams Family. But there's the one shot where it like runs up the stairs, but just on its index and middle finger, like their hand. Oh, I lost it.
Yeah. Yeah, it did the little twinkling noise. Yeah. I mean, so this, I wouldn't say this movie was supposed to be a comedy, but there are parts in it that are definitely hilarious. So, yeah. I mean, if you don't have anything else, I think that's it. What would you rate this if you had to give it, on a 7-fingered hand?
Oh, all 5 fingers.
Oh,
Or did you say 7?
well, I was going on a scale of 7, but let's stick with 5.
I figured because there's only 5 on a hand.
Yeah. Let's go with 5. That makes more sense. Why am I being ridiculous? Yeah, if you're going to get all 5 fingers. Honestly, I can't think of too many problems with just, is it perfect? I haven't gone back and rewatched it over the years, obviously because it's not available on much, but yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I guess if we're going to go, if I got to compare it, it's up there. And why it's not more successful, it's up there with, it is up there with Evil Dead and and House and some of the more classics that like everybody loves. And it should be watched. If you can find it, you should.
And if you like introducing people to movies and showing them new movies, this is one of the best because 9 out of 10 people like watch first 10 minutes and start looking at you like, is this for fucking real?
Oh, God. I love that expression. I love it. I love when I show a movie to somebody and they're like, what the fuck did you just make me watch? And yeah, this is definitely one of those, if you got, I mean, really, it happens best with, like, normal people. People that are just regularly going to the regular movies and watching regular-ass movies. And that's not the kind of stuff we talk about here. So,
Right.
Yeah, most of the movies we're going to talk about are those movies that get you odd looks. And this is one of the best. It is, for sure. So, yeah, 5 fingers all around. That's 2. That's 10 fingers on both hands. So, yeah, if you like the show, click the box, like and subscribe. We'll be back, in the future reviewing some other movies. I have one in the works that, I'm putting together to show you. And we'll be talking about that here soon. But always, you can check out our other projects. We have a podcast called True Criminals. You can check that out as well. We have some other works in the mix. Some things coming out there, so just keep a lookout for us. But in the meantime, you can catch us here on this YouTube channel. And
Talk about the show. Talk about 5 Finger Death Cabin.
Yeah.
We need a Blu-ray release.
Or if you know how to burn a movie. I can copy a VHS to a DVD, but I can't make a Blu-ray. But yeah, I know eventually someday we're going to get to Jesus versus Death. That one's coming up. That's a really good one. You'll recognize some of the cameos in that. But yeah, we got some good movies coming down the pipeline. And so yeah, like and subscribe. Let us know what you think. Comment below. I thought this was a good movie. I'm glad we talked about it.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, I'm Eric.
And I'm Scotty.
And this was The Movies We Don't Deserve.